Hello, beautiful souls. It's Reverend Rose Hope here, aka DeeAnne Riendeau, and it's another Wisdom Walks, and it's a beautiful day for it. Today we're going to be talking about problems. How do we overcome our problems? What do we do to address our problems? Can't wait to explore. So something recently showed up for me, and I wanted to share it with you because we are human beings, and one of the things that we're faced with is challenges in our lives in order for us to grow and to evolve. And something showed up for me with my daughter actually recently. We went to an escape room, super fun. At the end of our escape room, there was a treasure at the end. And there was a box full of all these, fake gems and coins and things. And they were very clear not to take any. And the next day, I found one of the coins from the escape room. So I knew that one of my children had taken a coin. So, of course, as any mother would, I went down, I said, okay, who took the coin? And my daughter sheepishly looked at me. And, so we had a conversation about taking things that weren't ours and theft and stealing. And I wasn't sure how I was going to handle it yet, but I told her I would talk to her dad and we'd figure out what we were going to do about it. And she felt a bit nervous about that, but I really felt it was important to keep her accountable. So ultimately, we decided to do something that I actually experienced when I was about her age. My first thought was to make her go in person and return the coin and apologize to the manager. And that felt really intense from my husband's perspective and probably from my daughter's as well. So I remembered when I was about 13, 14 years old, I would go and visit my friends back home where I grew up. When I was 12, we had moved into a bigger city. And so on the weekends, my parents would let me go and stay with friends in this small town. And one night, the kids were pulling off light bulbs from people's houses. It was near Christmas time. It must have been November, December or something. And they were stealing these bulbs, and they would smash them on the ground and they would explode. It was like the trend at that time, way back in the early 90s. And my friends eventually convinced me. I didn't want to take any light bulbs. I wasn't interested in that. But eventually the peer pressure got to me and I stole one light bulb from someone's house. And because my mom was a teacher in that small town, what happened is word got out that the kids were out stealing light bulbs and smashing them in the streets. And so it got back to my mom, and my mom came and said, I know you're with these kids. Did you steal any light bulbs? And I admitted that I did. And I felt a great deal of guilt and shame for it. And my parents said, okay, well, you're going to write them a letter of apology and you're going to send them a couple dollars. You're going to send them some money. And back then, a couple dollars was kind of a big deal. I was only 12 or 13. So $2 was a lot of money. But they said, doesn't matter what the light bulb's worth. You're going to pay more so they can buy a whole new string of light bulbs if they want to. So needless to say, I wrote the letter, I sent the money back. And I felt relieved, to be honest. I felt like the bad thing that I had done, I had made up for it. And so I was able to release that guilt and shame. And I thought, if I don't do something similar for my daughter, chances are pretty good she's going to hold on to some of this guilt and shame. And so that's what she got to do. She got to write a letter and send the coin back along with extra money to buy plenty of coins for all the other children that will probably be taking coins from that treasure box. So I guess the moral of the story, and why I wanted to share that story with you, is because it's not about guilt or shame or stealing. It's about addressing the problem as it arises. And problems are going to come up. And there was a perceived problem that my daughter stole something. And we were able to overcome that problem. We were able to outgrow the problem. And there's a beautiful quote by Carl Jung. It's spelled Jung, J-U-N-G. He was a Swiss psychiatrist. And Carl Jung says, we don't solve our problems, we outgrow them. We outgrow our problems. And so this gave my daughter an opportunity to outgrow her problem. It gave her a chance to outgrow the guilt, to learn from the experience, and to be better for it. And so, just like it did for me when I was, 13 years old. So, one of the first things I want to share in terms of dealing with problems, number one, address the problem right away. Right away. Deal with it. Don't let it fester. So many people that I know in relationship, they have these little problems. And they're thinking, oh, it's just a little problem. I'll just let it go. Even though I feel a little resentful about it, I'll let it go. And then that next time there's another problem, oh, I'll just let it go. But what happens is we don't really let it go. We hold on to it. And it stores up within us. And all of a sudden, all of these little problems create a big problem, yes? So deal with the problem right away. Deal with it, face it head on. It's like fear. You face it head on. So that's number one. The second thing about problems is that they are merely opportunities. Oh yes, they are. Our perceived problem is one of the best opportunities for us. Our perceived challenge, best opportunity for us. So we can start to shift our perspective and say, okay, in this moment, I feel like this is a problem. I don't like it. Or we can say, I've got a major opportunity to learn something here. What is it? What do I get out of this? And so it allows us to move into a different vibrational state, which then naturally, there's no problem anymore. I'll give you another example of this. This happened last year, and we're busy getting our trailer ready to go camping, and we're frustrated because the awning's not working. If you've ever dealt with an awning on a trailer, you know what I'm talking about. And ours is broken a bit, so it takes a bit of finicking around and maneuvering. And so we're so frustrated. I'm frustrated. This damn awning is not coming out, and I'm getting angry and frustrated. And I said to my partner, Dan, I said, you know what? Let's leave it. Maybe we just need a break. Let's just take a step back. And I remember having listened to something by Esther and Abraham Hicks recently around that time. And it was something like, get into the vortex, be in the vortex. It's not really a problem unless you believe it's a problem kind of idea. And to think the thought that you've already overcome the problem. You've already gotten a solution. Like the solution's already here. And so I was like, oh, there's a solution to this. And as soon as I shifted that perspective and took a step back, I remembered a little trick with the awning. It gave me an opportunity to just pause and receive the download from divine. Hey, remember, there's a better way to do this. And so we were able to get the awning out, problem solved, right? So I remind you guys that we have an opportunity to outgrow every problem that comes and to see it as an opportunity for that growth versus seeing it as a problem in itself. Yes? So that's the next piece. The other thing that we are invited to remember, and this is very, very important, that story with the awning, I took a step back and I got into stillness instead of being in the vortex or the negative chaos of my thoughts and my emotions. And I brought myself back into a more grounded space, and guess what? The answers came. They're all there. The answers are there. The solutions are there. And God, creator, source, Gus, however you want to define that higher power, it is an infinite supply. So what happens when we see a problem is it's our perception that's blocking the experience or blocking the solution. And if we allow ourselves to remember that we have an infinite supply of solutions, then all of a sudden you come up with the solutions. So I suppose one could even argue that problems are in the eye of the beholder. They're only problems if we believe them to be problems. And I think many of you listening already know that the opportunities are endless for us. And so we can start to shift our perspective. There's lots of other tips to overcome our problems. But hopefully, if you've got a problem that's on your mind right now, or you're perceiving that there's a problem or a challenge for you that you're stuck in, I hope that these tips will help you to come back, remembering that you are always being supplied for, and that it just requires you to step in, face it, look at it head on, change your perception, and come to a place where you can receive the divine guidance that is there for you, so that the problems no longer exist. You've outgrown the problems. You've gained a great deal of value from the problem, and life moves on to the next one. I wish you all the best in your problem solving. Bye for now.